Welcome back to episode 17 of Midnight Movie Reviews. This week we're bringing you another A24 film, and this one's called The Lighthouse. Our guest this week is Sai. He was with us last episode, and we really enjoyed his presence, so we decided to have him back again. Like I said before, we watched The Lighthouse. I think we all pretty much very enjoyed this movie, and also we don't have Luke here, who kind of didn't enjoy it, but in his absence, I think we'll go way more in depth on the symbolism behind this movie, the psychoanalysis behind this movie. I know Sai is really adamant about that. I know me and Nick are gonna have a lot to say about the cinematography, and Adam's just gonna have a lot to say in general. So I'm gonna start us off right into our summary, and then we're gonna get a move on, as always. All right. Set on a lonely island, The Lighthouse tells the story of Ephraim Wilson. He's a new lighthouse wiki who's contracted to work on the desolate island for the upcoming month. Throughout his stay, he is constantly antagonized by a superior officer, Thomas Wake. Over time, their relationship falls into madness and all hell breaks loose. Adam, take it away.
Alright, so now, can everyone give their general opinion of this movie?
Alright, so I think I'm going to start us off on this one. I seriously thought that this is one of my favorite, or one of the greatest films in all of cinema, based on the fact that this is a very historically accurate movie. And the director, Robert Eggers, which we'll talk about a little later, and how he directs his movies. It's just all these little things come together to create such a powerful, moving movie. I really enjoyed the characters. I really enjoyed just everything. I love how it was filmed. I love the black and white. I love the square format. It's just everything that embodies film into one movie. It was amazing. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie too. It had a really like classic feel to it, even though it was made like really recently. It just brought like old movie vibes to it, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's a really good plot. The characters did really good job with the acting, and obviously cinematography is like so good. Yeah, Sai, what do you have to say?
Yeah, this movie was incredible. It's going to be kind of hard to explain how much I love this movie without kind of repeating what Misha and Nick had said. But yeah, I love the black and white kind of film to it. It was really good. They really embodied the late 19th century. They did a lot of research and background on the movie. So it made it like 10 times better as to what it was originally, like, you know, what you would originally think a movie like this is supposed to be. It starts out pretty boring, but it gets very interesting very quick. There's very little dialogue. You kind of think the movie's going to be like slept on a little bit, but it's an incredible movie. Really good. Like, I genuinely cannot tell you how good of a movie it is. The plot's very good. Everything's very good. The symbolism behind it is very deep, and it is made by A24, which our last podcast we
did Midsummer. I mean, Sai, like, I mean, I would say, like, to agree with you on this, is like, I would say this is one of the perhaps the best A24 film. Some people would contest to it Hereditary or whatever, but I just think that they're two different movies, and so one of them is like horror. This one's just psychedelic, kind of.
Yeah, so
I would have to say that Under the Skin is the best A24 movie, but this is a close second.
You can't really compare because
they're just different types.
They're relatively different. I'd say Hereditary is still psychological horror, but this, I mean, to an extent. This, I'd have to say, is probably second for me, just because it's a very good movie. They did an incredible job making it feel like the late 19th century. They did an incredible job with the plot. They did an incredible job with the symbolism. They did an incredible job with like basically everything and kind of keeping you engaged throughout the second half of the movie, and even somewhat of the first. The story was a little bit hard to follow, I'd have to say. So it just comes in a close second for me, just because I feel as though Hereditary, which was first for me for A24, was probably the best movie, or not the best, probably top 3 for me, in terms of like psychological horror, just horror in general, just because it was just incredibly well done. It really spooked me, to be honest, the first time I watched it. It caught me off guard. I love the storyline behind that movie, and there was also a lot of symbolism in that as well. And another thing to note was the director, Robert Eggers, who Misha had previously
also did a really good job on The Witch. It's not the same style of movie, but Robert Eggers is like super known for his like going into like super research for movies, making them period accurate. And I'll talk about this later with even how the movie was filmed. And
Yeah,
but
the aspect ratio, black and white, all that,
yeah.
incredibly well done. But The Witch was just like I think it was 16th century, maybe 15th century. I think it even, maybe even 14th century. It was around that kind of time. Really good movie as well. The A24 just blows my mind, to be honest. They do incredible movies, and I feel like they're very slept on. They're not really talked about that much when it comes when horror comes up.
Because like most of the time, but we'll talk about this later. But it's just most of the time due to the, you know, the notion that horror movie sucks. But whatever. Let's move on to the next question.
All right, so now we are going to talk about characters and acting, which is like going to be a lot of these questions are going to be big ones for this movie, but there's a lot to talk about with in characters and acting.
So pretty much we only have two characters in this movie, like two main characters. We have, I would say, technically we have about we have four characters, but it's really only two. So we have Robert Pattinson's character and Willem Dafoe's character. So they both play the Lighthouse Wickies. And I think that it was
just so you guys know, sorry to interrupt, Wickie is a lighthouse keeper. Just they refer to him in the film as Wickies just because it's the 19th century. That was the term back then. Just so you guys know going forward.
So we have the two Lighthouse Wickies, and like I said before, that their entire whole arc starts very, very just lame, you know, just how, you know, just doing their job. And we learn in the movie that they don't learn each other's names until I think literally the last day that Ephraim, so that is the main character, I would say. Technically they're both main characters, but I'm gonna say the story is more based on Ephraim. So they don't learn each other's names until literally his last day on the job, which is the last of the 4 weeks. And then
was that the last day?
Yeah, that was his last day. And then he had to sleep the night, and then he would be leaving on the tender. And then, like, they don't really have that much character. It's just, like, jealousy because, like, oh, why aren't you letting me go up to the light? You know, he's like, you're not doing the rules right. But then after the tender doesn't show up and they sleep in, and after Ephraim kills the bird, which we'll talk about later, which is very important, you know, then their characters start building as they start drinking and they start opening up and talking. I just feel like these characters have so much to them. Like, they build so much with practically nothing. Like,
yeah, it's true.
Like, the background of Ephraim is, like, really well done. It's really simple, but perfectly done.
Yeah, so I would actually say that it's just what blows my mind primarily about this film. They kind of, like, made it seem originally like there wasn't going to be much dialogue or much character development, just because just the beginning of the film. Like,
right.
Yeah, like there was no like dialogue in the beginning for like the first 10.
Because
15,
it's just like we're just like going doing our jobs, whatever.
Exactly.
I don't really care.
Then,
you know, you don't seem like a good boss.
Yeah, the thing throughout this movie though was there were a lot of like drunken scenes and just different scenes that really like tied the characters together. Like you know, like the scenes where they'd be drinking at the table and, you know, other stuff of that sort. And you know, it really like tied the characters' personalities together because you didn't really learn them that well. But they were, you know, their opinions kind of came out about each other slowly. And originally Wilhelm, he kind of was putting up Willem, sorry about that. He was kind of putting up with Thomas, you know, and his character, and then, you know, later throughout the film he kind of
Wait, do you mean, okay, and also for the audience to know, obviously we learned that Ephraim Wilson actually stole
Thomas,
that. You're talking about Thomas Wake, like the old like Willem Dafoe's character.
Yep, the boss. He kind of just gives his general opinion towards the end of the movie. Winslow does about Thomas.
Yeah, he kind of just lets it all
drunk.
loose. Like that last drunk scene where he's like, your farts, you know, you're all this shit that's bugging me.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike. And I just really think that I feel like Ephraim's character was probably more focused with, like, you know, the development and stuff, because I feel like this movie, the whole point of this movie, this is a very this movie style is literally protagonist, antagonist. One person is just antagonizing the other person. It's the relationship in the movie, which is very obvious. We have one character antagonizing the other, and we're gonna see how he overcomes it. That's the whole point of the movie.
I don't feel like it's as clear cut as that though.
But that is the general
protagonist and that antagonist.
I know, but generally, I would say Willem Dafoe's character was the antagonizer, because like there's the scenes where he's like, oh, you know, why did you break the boat, even though he's the one who did it, even though
Right.
yeah. And then also when he's like, the tender, like, we just missed it this morning, he's like, no, it's been weeks. Like, he's trying to control Ephraim, and it's just not.
Yeah, and this leads later on to like the psychoanalysis portion of the movie, and also a lot of the hallucinations that actually occur in the movie. But one thing you kind of notice about Thomas's character, the older guy, the older Wookiee, is he's very controlling. I'd have to say, very manipulative, very
and
controlling.
that's the point of that character relationship that I was just talking about.
Yeah, and you have to understand that like he's just very demanding, and I think that also pushes Winslow over the edge slowly throughout the film,
And that's the
especially
point of it.
considering yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Especially considering the fact that they're drunk like 75% of the film, and you know that's.
But they're
just
only
doesn't go well.
drunk. They're only drunk after the tender leaves. Like,
Yeah.
he only starts drinking. He only
Yeah.
Ephraim only starts drinking once shit goes off.
The night before. Yeah.
The night before that, the night before they were gonna be switched out, which
Exactly,
ends up not
yeah.
happening, which we'll get into later. But yeah.
Right, but what I was like trying to say earlier though is like they're both the antagonists, right?
Technically.
In certain
Which is,
situations,
like, the whole,
yes,
like,
but at the
cyclical thing.
I know, but at the beginning, I would say that Willem Dafoe's character is doing these things to manipulate Robert Pattinson's character, and it's just so, you know, it's very obvious, very clear.
Genuinely, they're both antagonists just because they both kind of poke at each other a little bit.
But at the beginning,
I mean,
we're made out to seem that
Yeah.
we're made out to seem that Ephraim is he's just starting another job. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, also, like, you could see that. I mean, I totally agree with your point where Ephraim is the bad guy too, because he's also like being an asshole back. But he wouldn't have been an asshole in the first place if Thomas
Without,
wasn't
like, all
being
the
a dick.
nagging and stuff.
Yeah, and all the like, you know, like, you're not cleaning this well enough, even though he did, and he's like.
I mean, the same thing like with like the light and all that. The same thing happened to him though, right?
What do you mean?
Like with the last guy that was there.
Yeah,
Well,
the wiki before.
other Wookiee,
he did, but
He
we
went
don't
insane
know
according
how
to-
he died because
Well,
he could have
wait.
Well, here's the thing.
Wait, guys,
One second. So Thomas basically describes him as going insane and kind of like losing himself a little bit, just because he had killed a bird, which was bad luck. Seabird. Get into that later. But the other thing was Winslow. Winslow had like a hallucination of Thomas's previous Wookiee's like dead body with his like.
But
eye taken out.
the problem
I
with
know,
that is
that was
whatever.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was real though.
No, that
Yeah,
wasn't
Like
real.
it was
that,
like the whole thing with the cycle.
No, it was
like-
hallucination. It was hallucination because
No.
listen, hold on, his body's not gonna come up in a crab cage. That's
yeah,
not
that's not how
possible.
that works.
No, it was just
Yeah.
his head.
Uh-huh.
It was just his head, but the thing is,
Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
but that has to be a hallucination. There's no way in hell you can fish
Yeah.
a body out of the ocean. That's not how that
It
works.
was-
And especially just the head, and that would have think about like the storms and other things. The storm would have wiped that away. Fucking.
There's
Exactly.
no way. There's
Yeah.
no.
Okay, but
Yeah,
still,
no,
he
not
killed the guy. He killed the.
He-
But you don't
I'm
know. You
pretty sure
don't know
he
if he
killed
killed him.
No,
That's
but
the thing.
Misha-
It's up
but
to
Misha, I think he did.
interpretation.
That's what they were hinting at though, like the whole time, like how it was like a cycle, and like Willem Dafoe's character, like he was in the place of Pattinson's character before, and it's like just going in a circle.
Like, what do you mean, like with the
Oh,
right,
hallucinations?
Like it did happen differently, like the time we
So
were
wait,
watching, because like
are you saying that what happens is Willem Dafoe's
Yeah.
character stays there, the newcomer gets killed, then another newcomer comes, he gets killed, or do you mean that Willem Dafoe's character was last time around, he was the new guy,
he was the new guy,
and then
and like at
then he
the end,
killed-
Pattinson, like he fell down and broke his leg and all that, and it was like hinting that, you know, like he was in his place.
Oh, he's basically saying that
Yeah.
that Tom. Okay, he's basically saying that Winslow is technically the other Wiki, and it's a reoccurring process because the same fate occurred to him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And like he was
where
obsessed with the
Thomas-
light too.
Yeah, because they didn't understand the light to that extent, and
Yeah.
this also goes along with his manipulative and controlling like personality.
Mhm.
Thomas's. He didn't want anybody to touch the light aside from him,
No.
even though the
Exactly.
lightkeepers wanted to. And that what's it called? I don't know what the I'm blanking here. That
What do you-
obsession with the light.
yeah.
caused the same fate.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's just
So.
because like they don't know like like, there's this weird mythology to it. I mean, like
Yeah,
Nick,
Prometheus
we're
and
in
all that.
English right now. Like, do you can you
Yeah.
apply anything to that, or like no, or like do you know anything about Greek stuff that could help you explain? Because there's obviously a lot of Greek stuff could like for just the character dynamic, but like, do you think anything? What I mean, like,
Well,
what do you I mean, Nick, what do you think about like
Dude,
the
that
light?
ending though.
So
that
at the-
ending though is epic.
Yeah, at the end, Howard falls to his death, like down the stairs of the lighthouse, and his organs are plucked out by the seagulls, which is actually
Which is like
the myth
the
of
Greek myth.
Prometheus.
Yeah. Yeah, and he like
Well, yeah,
you know, he
'cause-
stole the fire and like the light was the fire. That was
Yeah.
that was awesome.
This is just a telling of a tale. This is just
Right.
it's just a retelling of a thing.
But it still pairs with the mythology.
I mean, Nick, did you like it like that, or do you think it'd be worse like that?
I don't know. I liked it how it was. It left enough up to like the air, so like we have these cool like in-depth discussions because like this is one like side of like how we view it, but like
Yeah,
you
that's
guys
the thing,
like
because
the
like I'm kind of
viewers,
disagreeing on like what,
yeah.
what these two are saying right now. But like,
exactly.
What do you mean? On what
It leaves
specifically?
so much like up to the air, you know.
I mean, like I don't like the thing is you don't know if the old Wiki was killed or if he just really went insane and just killed
Exactly.
himself.
I'm pretty sure they
And
were
that's
like
Okay, listen,
hinting
good
at that the whole
storytelling.
time.
But you don't know.
Listen though. There's
Mhm.
you don't know.
Listen.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's like this movie. I feel like it wasn't like to the point of like they're very different movies, but like I feel like it can be easily compared to The Shining in a lot of ways. Like the ending of The Shining, like you don't really know what exactly happened with like the picture on the wall and all that, but like there's a clear like this probably happened sort of thing, and
Yeah,
this is like
just a repeating
what
cycle.
what they're most likely trying to say.
Yeah, and I agree with that. But like,
Yeah.
but I'm still saying like you don't know if he was killed.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
What we know
You
is
don't
he
know for
died.
sure.
All we know is that he died, but we don't know how, and that's what the point. It's supposed to be left up to interpretation.
yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
also going back to The Shining, there was a lot of like isolation sort of stuff that was like
Mhm.
very comparable.
But like, you know what? I feel like this episode, I feel like we should just talk about everything in random order, because like I don't think that like,
Everything
we
happens
can,
in random order.
yeah, but no, but if
Like-
you think about it, the whole point of the aspect ratio in this movie and why they shot it on spherical lenses was so that they don't widen anything, because if you shoot in a spherical lens, you have to widen the image because it squeezes the image. But on spherical lenses, right, all they did was just cut out the sides and left it in that like 1:19:1 format. And the whole point of that is to make them feel like isolated but together,
Like they're
because
trapped.
Right.
yeah, it's like they're trapped, because when you have the two characters in the same, when you block the two characters together, right, they're
Yeah.
squeezed, they can't go anywhere, they're stuck
Mhm.
on the island. That's the whole point of that
Exactly.
aspect
Yeah.
ratio.
It's
They
just so
filmed it,
smart
so
too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they filmed the entire thing with like vintage cameras. I'm not sure exactly what type.
No, they
just
didn't
kinda-
shoot on vintage cam. What they did
Well,
was
not vintage cameras,
No,
but they
no, no.
used like
no, this is
I
what they
thought-
did.
yeah.
They used they shot this on a Panavision camera. I know that. Like, let me look to see specifically what Panavision, but they shot this on black and white
35mm film.
they shot this on Eastman film. So what the point was, they shot it on orthographic or ortholinear film or whatever it's called. And what the point of that is
Orthochromatic.
orthochromatic. Yes, thank you, Sai. So pretty much what orthochromatic film does is it's meant to be an older style of film, because if you search up a picture like Abraham Lincoln, this is what I really like to compare it to, you can see all the blemishes in his skin. That was the whole point of the film they use. So it's
They
meant to
also-
bring out, but the problem is they need a lot of light, because that film is really
Yep,
hard to
yep.
expose. So that's why you have very
That's what I was
blown
gonna
out
say.
sky, and that's why their night scenes are they seem dark, but they're pretty well lit.
So two fun facts. Sorry to cut you off. One of them is the fact that the lights that they were filming the scenes in were so bright that the actors couldn't see, like genuinely. And
They
another
had to use
quick one-
sunglasses. Like the crew had
Yeah.
literally had to use sunglasses on
Yep.
night at set.
Yeah, because it's so hard to actually like get perfect exposure with that camera. And then the other
Not the
thing was
camera, the film.
the film. Sorry about that. And then the other thing is the seagulls. Like all the seagulls in the film, aside from the one that got brutally murdered, They were all real seagulls because the crew like left food out, for different scenes. So that the
My
seagulls would
problem
not be there.
is how did they get the seagulls to do like the they like not like the
Yeah,
random
knocking
seagulls.
on the window and stuff. Yeah,
I
I don't know.
I feel like those are like trained.
Animatronics.
No, those are probably trained birds.
But
You
trained
sure?
seagulls?
You can train a seagull.
Was the dead
feel
one in
like-
like the well thing? Was that a real seagull?
Probably not. Of course
Obviously
not.
not. It wouldn't.
Oh,
Yeah,
they should have
no.
killed a seagull for that. That would have been cool.
Oh yeah, it would have been awesome. They wouldn't be able to
No,
put
but
that
then
in
they
the
can't
short
put
film.
no animals were harmed in the making this film.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
now that we're on the seagull, let's just talk about it, right? So the seagull obviously is like the biggest fucking like one of the bigger symbols in this
symbolism.
movie. Yeah,
Mhm.
like
For mythology.
I don't even think it's the mythology. I feel like just the seagull itself right now in this film represents how like, you know, it's like a telling of good in a way. You get what I'm saying? So once
I don't.
he actually kills
Just
the
let him
bird,
explain.
once he actually kills the bird and he does a wrongdoing or a bad deed, he gets punished for it. So in a way I feel like that bird just represents good and bad, because you don't do anything to the bird, there's no bad weather. You do something to the bird, you're fucked, right?
Well,
I mean, what do you have to say on it?
well, the bird, and it's literally told this way. The bird represents bad luck, right? So him killing, and he was warned this by Thomas, but him kill or the older Wookiee.
He said,
but him-
"Don't kill your birds."
Listen, I'm gonna refer to Thomas as the old Wookiee because obviously later in the movie, what's his name? Winslow gets referred to as Thomas, so it's confusing. So I'm just gonna refer to him as the older Wookiee. But the older Wookiee basically warns him
Wookiee?
about the bad luck of the bird. Wookiee,
Yeah,
my
I've
bad,
been thinking
Wiki,
that for a while now.
my bad, Wiki.
Yeah.
The older Wiki warns him about it, and he doesn't listen to him, and he smashes a bird out of anger because they filled up. I'm not sure exactly
It was
sure what
oil. No, that's their water. That's their like water, drinking water.
Yeah, it was their cistern, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it's called, a cistern.
Yeah.
So the cistern basically is like their water source, and a seagull died in it. So he was kind of pushed over the edge there.
Because he's like he
See,
doesn't
the-
want to drink like fucking gross
Yeah.
water, and he doesn't want to drink alcohol
Exactly.
either.
Yeah,
And then
and the
that's
and the
what
one-eyed
fucks everything
seagull, the actual one-eyed seagull, was kind of already there. So he just smashed it out of anger, and then instantly, right after that,
The
next
wind.
scene,
The wind.
Yep, the wind. The wind switches to north, and then that's the calm before the
Wow.
storm.
And then
Yep. And then they get fucked. They get screwed over.
Yeah. And they also mention like the old wiki guy. He mentions that like the seagulls, they represent like the souls of like the dead people
Yep, the
too.
dead
And I
sailors.
also
Yep.
think that's
Well, that's just his
yeah.
reincarnation belief.
yeah.
I mean
don't-
yeah.
Was that real
It's just
though?
like a
No, it probably isn't. But that's what
No.
he believes in. So, and that also goes along with the story of the fact that the birds are bad luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's bad to like kill someone who's buried or like mess with someone's like grave. Like obviously that's just like
Yeah.
morally you
Yeah.
don't do that. You don't just
Yep.
go
Right.
grave digging. That is
I was
just-
curious if we could kind of talk about the mermaid symbolism because I'm really not sure what that meant at all. To be
I feel
honest.
like
don't
no,
know.
I feel
I
no.
don't
So
know
what
if that meant
happened
his
was
sexual his
Yeah.
sexual beliefs or
It was-
like his.
No,
his
so this is what it was. This is what I thought it was. So, at the beginning of the movie, he sees the hole in the bed and he pulls out the little mermaid thing. So instantly, obviously, you're isolated for a month, and obviously for a younger man, you obviously have a lot of sexual tension, right? So the guy is probably really horny, right? And so he
Yep.
sees this like naked mermaid doll, and we
Yep.
learn later in the film that it was most likely planted by the older Wiki into the bed to like, elicit some sort of desire or sort or to throw him off, because in that little mermaid figurine makes him start hallucinating. Like we have two different times in this movie where the guy's fucking jerking off to it and like imagining him fucking a real mermaid, which is a pretty lady, I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you, Misha, for that input. Everybody who's watching appreciates it.
I know. No, but obviously they had to use someone who's because like very pretty, but the thing is
Thank you, Misha.
Shut up. I'm trying to be professional here. No, but really, it's like you were saying, Sai, it's just him having these sexual desires, and that's there to throw him off and do
Yeah, well,
maybe
it was
do-
made out of bones. Do you think he used it with the previous guy? Previous Wiki?
Yeah, because
well, it was stuck in the bed sheets.
Oh wait,
when they
that's
first
true.
See it,
And then
it's
when
stuck
and then
in
when
the bed.
and
yeah.
then when younger Wiki actually breaks it, right? He maybe breaks like the cycle. Oh, yeah. When he breaks the thing, he breaks the cycle. So now the older Wiki can't plant it
Okay,
on
but
someone else.
listen, how does this work? Because it'd have to be some supernatural type shit. for it to work over like that. Because hold on, listen, you think about it like this, unless
Well,
unless it's all planned out by the older Wiki, which
It probably is
is.
in a way. Yeah.
Okay, but then what is the older Wiki's intention of killing his younger Wikis? That doesn't make sense, or making them go insane. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Well, he wants to keep the light for
And
himself.
how does it? And
Yeah.
how does it elicit like hallucinations? That doesn't make sense. Is it
It's just-
because
I think he
it
just went
automatically
insane
triggers?
from the
No,
isolation.
but no,
Yeah.
well, yeah, because you get really, because the guy doesn't have any woman. He has to deal with the one guy who farts and does annoying shit all the time.
Yeah.
So of
So
course
He's
he's
probably really paranoid too, because like he doesn't know this guy's
Oh,
past, and like
Yeah. The other bad thing is though in the the other bad thing in the movie though is like they almost make out in one scene. Oh my god, sexiest scene I've ever watched.
But no. But that just shows how lonely they are and how
Yeah, I know.
fucked they are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's good though. That's a very good I guess symbolic kind of portion of the movie.
Yeah.
It really does show off how isolated they are. I really like the plot though. The plot it was really well done. Like I
Very
like how everything
linear.
kind of works out. Yeah, very linear.
works out.
And it also lines up perfectly with the mythology and like the seagull and how
Yeah.
that screws them over.
Also,
but the one
yeah.
scene that
Oh.
blew me away.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Misha.
Oh, no,
Unless
go.
you want me to go.
Well,
The
I
one
mean, I
scene
have another one scene that blew me
Yeah.
away too, but it might be the same one as yours. So you go ahead.
So the scene that blew me away was the one where they're both arguing in the bed. They're both like really drunk, and he basically says he's bad at cooking. The younger Wiki says he's bad at cooking, and then the older Wiki like basically swears him to Neptune. And
Yeah.
tells him
Oh,
to
the
make
do that. Okay,
That
I was
was
reading.
really
I was
good.
reading about that. And apparently, Willem Dafoe did not blink for that entire thing. I didn't. I have to watch it back again. But Robert Eggers said that he
Wow.
didn't
Where?
blink. Yeah.
The craziest thing about that entire scene for me, I watched it and I'm like, is this guy still going?
Yeah. Like I've watched this
Exactly.
movie before, but then I watched it again, like for this episode, and I
Yeah,
was like,
sure.
I did not read. That is like one of the most impressive monologues ever.
I'm surprised he didn't get like an Oscar or whatever it is for this, dude. Like, I'm serious. This is
They
like,
they won the
Oscar-worthy.
film festival that this movie
They got
was
one
meant
for
for.
best cinematography.
They
Yeah,
they
yeah.
they won one for Robert Egger. Yeah, Willem Dafoe won something for best supporting role. But yeah, I was gonna talk about the scene that I thought blew me away. Was I know it doesn't seem that powerful, but I think it was also one of the dream scenes. So when younger Wiki confronts older Wiki, and the older Wiki is naked because he does that in the lighthouse, right? And so he's kind of in that stance.
Wait,
where
what does he do in the lighthouse, by the way? Just
We don't
curious,
know.
because I saw
We don't
there was
know.
like the
There was one scene where he's
don't
probably
know, yeah.
jerking off because they used to
Yeah.
have, like the
okay.
human.
Sorry,
ex-
it's gonna be a little bit explicit for anybody watching, but doesn't he like come? Isn't that like gooey shit that comes down?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
that is.
Oh,
Mhm.
But anyways, so
yeah, but
the,
then there was
what
also a
was
tentacle,
what was that supposed to
What?
be?
no,
like
that's,
that he's.
Like the
That he's, like,
octopus they're,
Prometheus or
cracking
whatever?
we don't know. That's
No, he's not Prometheus. The other guy is.
I know that,
He's
but I'm
like
just saying.
Zeus or some shit.
Zeus is the god of thunder, you dumbass.
Zeus is-
Yeah,
yeah.
I know, but like when he was talking, there was like all the thunder and lightning, and in the myth, like Zeus is the one that punishes Prometheus. So like,
Okay, yeah, but then,
Yeah.
but he's only swearing like Neptune. He's not, which is the god of sea or god of the sea.
yeah, but like I don't know.
It has nothing to do
They,
with
they
Zeus.
are brothers though.
Thunder.
I mean, back to the thing
I
I was
guess.
saying
But, like-
before. So the scene that
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
the thing that I really liked was so in one of the dream sequences, Willem Dafoe's character is completely naked, and he's in that like kind of forward stride stance, and he has like the flashlight sort of eye things casting upon Robert Pattinson, and I just thought that was so fucking cool, honestly.
I
that
thought, yeah, it was.
Yeah, but like I
honestly,
feel like they were trying to like portray him as like Zeus in that scene though.
No, it's Prometheus, and then what's
No.
the other one with the P?
Neptune or
Protus. It's Prometheus
no,
and
no.
Protus.
Well, okay, where does
Proteus.
Neptune come up
Fuck
though?
is
Because he,
Proteus?
Neptune is just he says that like in his monologue, that he just says he hopes
Yeah.
Neptune like casts thing. I can read
Yep.
the monologue to you if you want. Do you want me to read it to us, or we don't need to?
it's up to you. We can do it later, honestly.
Okay, sounds cool.
Yeah, we can bring that
Wait,
up later.
let me read this really quick. So, Eggers was inspired by sailors, myths, and classical mythology. After finally obtaining the light and knowledge of what is in the light, Howard
Okay,
falls to his
okay.
death down the stairs of the lighthouse, and his organs are plucked out by seagulls, which was the myth of Prometheus.
Because what Prometheus
so
did was Prometheus went and he discovered what Protus was hiding, and but then since Prometheus
And then-
wasn't supposed to find out about that, he gets plucked.
And Wake was modeled on Protus, and which is a prophecy telling ocean god who
Proteus.
serves Poseidon. Proteus, sorry. Not only is he later shown with tentacles and sea creatures stuck to his body, but he also makes that uncannily accurate prediction. Uncanny, sorry. Accurate prediction for how Ephraim will die at the end of the movie.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's just a quick rundown on the mythology.
That was my favorite scene when he was like being buried and he was like talking about all that,
Oh, that was
foreshadowing.
good. Yeah, and the axe.
Yeah, and he actually
Mhm.
like calls him Prometheus, which was like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's not like you're interpreting this as Prometheus
Right.
and Proteus. It's literally just it's just a retelling of this story, but just with Lighthouse, right?
Mhm.
I feel like that was the whole point of the
Yeah.
movie.
Well, I mean, it wasn't really a retelling. Like
It was just using that as a base.
Proteus never like had a part of the Prometheus myth. Like that was completely separate, but like they kind of just like did their own sort of iteration of the myth.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that actually kind of goes with just like the overall history. There was a thing. There's a person called Sarah Orne Jewett who was like she was like an old author. She interviewed old time sailors back in like the late 19th century. She then wrote the book her books on her findings, which helped the crew who had been filming with their dialogue and stuff of that sort. Which also dialogue could not have been better. I'm not kidding. You also, if you guys are gonna watch this movie, you shouldn't even be listening to this podcast if you haven't watched the movie because there's a lot of spoilers. Obviously, you've already figured that out. If you're already this far in, but watch with subtitles.
Subtitles, you'll need them. Because the thing is,
Sure.
so obviously we can see that Willem Dafoe's character is obviously the seaman, so he obviously has that pirate, sort of accent, and it's very. It's very, very accurate to how they would sound in that time. And then we have Robert Pattinson's character who comes from the mainland America, and he has a bit of a northeastern Maine accent. And
He was from like
Maine.
New England. No, he wasn't from New England. Yeah, Maine.
Maine,
Yep,
New
that was it.
England. Maine, New England's in that area, but and then even Robert Eggers was like, I read again, saw that Robert Eggers was like, oh, say this line but 75% slower. Like Robert Pattinson put a lot of fucking effort into his accent because it was it's so period and it's so area specific.
I think I like read up on a thing where I don't know, he just did a lot of studying on like the dialogue, which obviously you need to in that sense, but he did a lot.
Because
like,
I bet you if you
general.
tried talking like that, talking like his character right now, you would not be able to. But you could not.
No, obviously not. Yeah, no. He did an incredible. I think he also starred in like Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
No, he was
Or
in
it was
Twilight.
Harry Potter.
Twilight.
No, yeah, he was in Twilight and
Harry Potter. Robert Pattinson gets a lot of hate, but he is such a versatile and
what does
amazing.
he get hate for?
For Twilight. He gets a lot of hate
really?
for Twilight.
Yeah.
But I think he's an amazing actor, and I'm really actually excited to see what he does in Batman.
I haven't heard about him at all, and I knew he was starring in Batman though. When I was reading up about this.
He's in Tenet, which is fucking awesome.
I've never seen Tenet. I'd have to
Watch
say
it
though.
right now.
Watch it right now. I'd have to say though that he did an incredible job in this movie. Honestly, I don't think there's an actor that like could have done better than him. Like genuinely.
Yeah, these two actors were like, two characters were perfectly cast.
And what's incredible
they worked so well.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I think the one thing that was also incredible was just the fact that like I personally didn't know these actors. These actors aren't like really known
No bullshit. Yes, they are.
Well, they are, but not to like a crazy extent. Like if you were to get
They're
Leonardo
A-list actors.
Well, I know, but if you were to get
say
like
Willem Dafoe is.
Okay, but
not Robert Pattinson.
if you were to get like Leonardo DiCaprio in this movie, as like it just wouldn't fit. It wouldn't feel like I don't know. I know they're A-list actors, but
Willem Dafoe is known for he was in Aquaman. He was literally Goblin in Spider-Man. He was in okay, maybe he's not in as many movies as I thought he was. No, but there's
he's a meme, guys. You have to.
No, he was in Death Note. He was in John Carter. He played voice in Finding Dory. He's been in James Bond. He's been in he was on Orient Express. He was on Grand Budapest Hotel. Great movie, by the way. He was in Spider-Man.
One other thing in this movie is the homoeroticism, which was another theme. There also we can touch on alcoholism.
Wait, whoa. He was born in Appleton, Wisconsin. Imagine being born in Appleton. What a loser.
Yeah, fucking loser. So the homoeroticism.
Oh, guys, he's gonna be in an upcoming Spider-Man movie.
Yes? Which one?
Yeah,
with
the No Way Home.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if he's
three of them are gonna be in
Green
there.
Goblin again.
I didn't know that.
Ooh, if they did that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Okay, let's see how Sai
Yeah.
talks about his
because they're bringing
homoeroticism.
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, so I was
back.
gonna say
It's
like there's a
and
lot of
Andrew
like
Garfield.
there's a lot of like sexual fantasies and like masturbation in the film. Well,
And
there's
that's what
only
we were
one
talking
scene of
about before.
masturbation.
No, there's two.
Yeah, two.
Two.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there are two. Oh yeah.
There's the one where he's like having serious post-nut clarity, and he's
Yep.
like really fucked up in the second part of the movie, and then
Yep.
the first time it's just like
Dude,
it's like
He's
a
fucked up
man,
the
it's a
entire
male.
movie.
No, but like the first time he does it, I feel like it's just like it's his male like tendency to do it, and
Yeah.
it's normal. But then the
Yeah.
second
Yeah.
time he's like seriously regretting it, and that's when he breaks the thing because he's like, I can't
Yeah.
do this anymore.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, but yeah, it was like I deadass thought they were gonna make out though. I'm not trolling. I genuinely thought they were gonna make out.
What did you want that?
No, oh, of course, yeah, definitely. No, but genuinely, dude, like, I don't know, it caught me off guard because I'm like, why are they like? It's just, dude, the film is so weird in the sense that they have like multi-personality disorder. It's like 1 second, listen, hold on, give me a second. 1 second, they're arguing about him not being able to cook good. The other second, they're
Because
just
they're
happy
drunk
singing
side.
it. I know.
No, like one of
Listen,
the
though,
out of
one of
his
the
mind.
listen,
guys,
listen.
So
Hold
can
on,
I speak for a second?
let me finish my thought.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't care if they're drunk. It's just crazy to me because it's like 1 second they're singing a good sea chant. How about about the fact that they're gonna go home or that they're gonna argue, and then the next second, they're like not friends and they're punching each other. Like, go ahead, Adam.
All right. So one of the big points of this movie, is like them trying to find their identity. Like they're both lying to each other about their identity and like, just arguing about that a lot. But like at some point, I don't remember when, but like you start to get the sense that like they don't even know who they are themselves. Like they're trying to find who they are, and like it's just there's a big theme of identity in this movie.
Well, yeah, it's because like you
Yeah,
said,
because-
there's. Oh, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
Only way to portray the
No, you
characters.
can go.
No, Nick, you haven't talked that much. I'm gonna let you say your thing.
Okay, yeah. I'm just because obviously he's going mad. Like he doesn't like loses his sense of self. That's kind of like, oh,
But it's like it's doing, and that flows into like the obsessive alcohol use in this movie towards the end when they know they're gone because no one's there to help them
exactly.
anymore.
And then like
That goes with the theme of
when they're drunk, they just like really
Someone's been
like
reading the
bond
Wikipedia
with
page.
each other, and they just like learn so much about each other.
Yeah.
Even though they're like drunk and like
But
all that
the
stuff.
and the weird thing is
Yeah.
it only happens when they drink. They talk to each other.
Exactly.
But when Winslow is in his normalness before he has to like or before he knows that the tender didn't get there, he's all like doing his
Mhm.
own thing. You know, he abstains from drinking alcohol, and then all of a sudden he starts doing it.
Yeah,
And then,
exactly.
Aside from the fact that they're like drunk, I think the one thing that the different like kind of personalities in different scenarios like represents is just their pure isolation and their reaction to that, like their psychological reaction to just knowing they're screwed over. Another scene in the movie was when they dug up the extra rations, which also shows like to an extent like how screwed they kind of are in that situation, the fact
and the
they have
funny
to dig
thing
up
is, but the
and
funny
it's
thing
just
is,
gin.
with-
It's just gin.
no, it's not gin, dude. It's ethanol.
No, it was literally gin.
It was ethanol.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, that's gas. Like that's how
Ethanol?
ethanol. That's how
Yeah.
fucked
Oh,
they
yeah.
were.
hmm
And then later, even at the end, when they're in the lighthouse together and they're doing like the chest beating thing, they literally were mixing. I think that was either lamp oil or even stronger gasoline of sorts with honey. Like they put honey.
Oh yeah, that was
I looked it up.
That's
interesting.
that's crazy.
Bottles of gin. I looked it up.
Okay, then maybe it was ethanol when they were doing with the honey. Then yeah, that makes
Yeah,
more
with
sense.
the honey, it was ethanol. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
okay.
didn't know what you were talking about. I was confused for a second. But yeah,
Hey,
they do a good job, kind of like
being
showing
drunk.
being
Oh.
drunk. They did a good job with that. They did a.
They're really good
their
at
acting
that,
was
yeah.
outstanding. I cannot tell you. It felt like I was there. Yeah, and they do a great job representing the pure
Totally relatable.
Yeah. They did a great job though, like representing the pure isolation that the characters were in. Like genuinely, I know I keep repeating it, but they did. Like there were different
And that was the
parts
whole point
of
of
the
the
film.
movie, right?
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying that's
Yeah.
like they did an exceptionally good job on different portions of the movie that made it feel like that. It made you feel like you were there with them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that-
exactly.
And again, that's the point. That's literally the point of the film. Which is great.
Yeah, that's why it makes the movie so good. Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, and so another thing I wanted to talk about is what's another something that I just thought that was very good detail in the film was the constant fog horn, right? Obviously they're on the island, they're working at a lighthouse, so of course there's gonna be a fog horn. But I just like the continuity of that where they just kept it in all the time. And I'm not sure if it means anything or you're supposed to infer anything about that, but like it could be just like that's constantly there. You're stuck, right? You know you're stuck when you hear it.
It's just a reminder. It's like, oh yeah, you're still here. You're not gonna get away.
Yeah, the foghorn.
Yeah.
Was
And apparently they filmed a real, like they went to like this real place and they actually filmed
Yep,
one, which
Nova
is really
Scotia.
cool. Nova Scotia. You can actually
Yeah,
you can actually go on YouTube and like find that exact foghorn that they used.
Yeah, but honestly, dude, that foghorn, I thought it was like part of the music at first, like, because when I didn't have subtitles on. But dude, I honestly that foghorn like set the mood of creepiness to me. I don't know. They did a really good job with that as well, like just putting it in specific places. I don't know. It made the film feel. It made the film feel like very eerie. It made the movie feel.
And that ties into the sound design of this movie and the music.
For sure.
And the music was literally all just like super bassy, nothing like. There's only like that classic like horror like type of music. Only when they're like stuff quickly pops in a frame, and there's only like twice when I remember that when older Wiki comes in to like axe younger Wiki, and he's like, don't touch my logbook, and then he hits him in the arm, and then
the pure horror of this movie comes straight from
music.
The personality.
Yep.
The music, yes. Yep, and also
it more sets the tone, like you were
acting.
saying. Yeah.
It's not like it's obviously you guys are anybody watching has probably already concluded the fact that this isn't like a jump scare movie. It's more of like it's psychological horror.
Yeah, and
so it's more like mentally it's gonna get to you a little bit more than any other movie.
It's not like spooky,
that's kind of what A24 is. Yeah.
Scream.
It's like what's weird too is I didn't think the movie was gonna be like, it didn't creep me out really at all. I was very taken aback after I watched it.
It's hard.
It makes you fucked up after it. Like that's kind of
definitely. Yep.
It's hard to like come back to another different horror movie after seeing Midsummer, because that one was like crazy.
Oh yeah.
Like
Midsummer wasn't. I mean, the ending was.
I think this movie's better than Midsummer.
Definitely.
I agree.
Yeah, very much.
Hey, you're entitled to your own opinion. But
no. Listen. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing with that.
If Luke was here, Luke would be like, they both suck.
Yeah.
Oh, also, if you didn't tell, Luke wasn't here.
Hold on, I'll be Luke for a second. Guys, this film was very bad because it's horror.
It's a horror?
No, I'd be like, guys, this film was very bad because I didn't understand it.
Yeah. Guys, this film was very bad. That's all I have to say.
Guys, come on.
We're not hating on this. We're just being.
We love you,
we just have to fill in for him for a little bit. No, but I genuinely think you can't compare the two films. Like Midsummer and the Lighthouse.
They're different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, I really like how this film is saying how like we can't compare. I really like how this movie is super period specific. They literally shot it as if it was a movie from the 30s or 40s, and I love that. And everything was historically accurate except one little goof where I think I saw a video on it. They were like they couldn't use it was in the Amazon, like you know how like you have like the little trivia that pops up when you're watching on Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah.
So one thing that popped up was when he was painting the lighthouse, he was like, "Oh, paint rollers weren't invented until the 1940s, so we can't be using a paint roller." That's all. But everything else super period specific accurate. So the lighthouse, the actual light, was like purpose built to be like a replica of what they would use in that time period, which is really cool. And a lot of things. I think did they build the lighthouse for the set or no? I'm not sure if they did or not.
I don't know, but that'd be cool.
No, yeah, they did. It was made out of wood, and there was actually a fun fact that the people in Nova Scotia wanted to keep the lighthouse up, and they really wanted to keep it up, but they had to take it down because it just didn't work out.
Wood on water.
Another fun fact that actually goes with this is what's his name? I forgot his name, but he had to learn how to knit for his role. I forgot. What was his name? It was Thomas. He was the older Wiccan.
Yeah.
He had to learn how to knit for his role.
Willem Dafoe.
Oh
Yep,
yeah,
sorry.
for like the 30 seconds he knitted in the
Yep,
film.
he had to
Yeah.
learn how to do that.
Oh, and
Yep.
also something very interesting about the actors was that
Yeah, William Dafoe.
Willem,
Willem, my bad.
Willem.
Sorry.
yeah,
Okay.
but seriously,
Okay.
no. So Willem Dafoe, during the filming of this movie, he would literally stay in like a little kind of like how like that little house was, like a little sea shack, and be very isolated. So Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson did not talk to each other on set. It's not because they didn't like each other, it's just because filming in the fucking rain all day and like the worst conditions is really taxing on the people. And they didn't talk, I think, until like after the filming was done. But Robert Pattinson would stay with the crew during filming and, you know, sleep at the hotel while Willem Dafoe would be all isolated and stuff. But then while he was studying to learn how to do the role, Robert Pattinson was himself in isolation, but not during filming. So that's fun fact.
Yeah, there's actually like a lot of things that went into the back of this film. Like, the other thing, this kind of goes along with sound effects, is Robert Eggers. He had to listen to like a lot of YouTube videos on like foghorns and waves and that sort of stuff. Which is actually the one thing that I really liked was the waves, like just the different the different scenes where it cut to the waves crashing against the rocks. You know, that
Also,
sort of stuff.
Yeah, and also I'm gonna add on to that real quick. I like how it's very obvious that they were trying to go after that. They were trying to use a miniature model. So if you like on the wide shots of the lighthouse itself, like super wide shots where you can see the entire island and stuff,
Yeah.
you can obviously tell that that's a model because the wave sizes don't really match up with how that would look realistically. And I really like how that was done because it's like it reminds me of a film called Night to Remember, which is about the Titanic, and how they use like a 10-12 foot miniature model. So like water you can't resize water in the 1950s, right, or whatever. So you can't do that in like post. So obviously like the model in the water just looked different. So I just really like how that was done. It was very period specific to how it was filmed.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just good because, like, kind of what you were saying earlier, it's just good that they make it historically accurate.
Yeah.
So then it really like
there's two different historically accurates. They have to be historically accurate to the 1890s and the 1930s, 40s.
Exactly. And yeah, they did that really well.
Yeah. All right. I think has everyone displayed their opinions? Is there anything else anyone else wants to say? Maybe talk about.
No.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the film.
I really
Very
enjoyed
much.
it. I feel like we should, we talked about the excessive masturbation. We talked about the alcohol stuff. We talked about the Greek gods and stuff. So yeah, I feel like this movie was pretty freaking good. Adam, why don't you lead us into our outro?
Are we doing questions anymore?
Oh yeah, no guys, let's talk about Robert Eggers. I mean, we've already been talking about him a lot.
But do we want to also talk about how a very important shot was not included in this movie,
Which was
because of like censorship.
Was
it was going to be
penis?
Pattinson's erect penis next to a shot of the lighthouse.
Yeah, that got
some
taken out.
symbolism right there.
What would that symbolize exactly?
Penis.
Penis.
Yeah, penis.
What's something else I would like to talk about? No, I don't really have. Oh, the ending. The end. Okay, so something else to add on.
That ending was
something else to add on. So something else to add on. So when they do that wide shot of him being plucked, you can also see wood logs in the background. That's very important because it's just like, could this all just be like a hallucination sort of thing? Is he still? So at the very last shot where young Wiki is getting plucked by the birds, alive. When they zoom out, you can see that there are logs in the background. So you're like, oh wait, maybe there's still like, maybe
that
this
was
is
like
all a
in
dream.
His first hallucination too.
Yeah, the logs and stuff.
Yeah, the logs, and then there's that like body or like the mermaid.
I mean,
yeah, right.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
I think that just symbolizes that maybe he or not symbolizes, that just shows maybe that he could be imagining all this, or he's being punished for letting Ephraim Winslow die in the thing because
I think that's it. No, I don't
Yeah.
think he's like
So you
hallucinating the whole
think the
thing.
entire film is based off of Ephraim Winslow's death, like originally? You think it's just
Yeah.
his psychological like
Or, like,
Or
trait?
it's
So you don't
it's
actually
Thomas.
think
It's
he's being-
Thomas
I feel
Howard's
like
reaction to.
So you don't actually think he's a wiki? Like
I
he
feel
never
like
went
if it
to
was,
silence, just
I
psychological.
feel like if it was meant to be a hallucination, like the entire movie, they do it. They tell more about it than
There would have
that.
also been something to come up about that. That probably would have been in the plot if that was part of it.
Right.
That's not bad.
hmm
It's a good theory though. Like I like the whole.
I think
Yeah.
I think it's just connecting that back to his coworker or whatever.
hmm
All right. So guys,
Hey.
I think we have spoken our minds out. Sadly, no Luke to contest anything. So
Nope.
Adam, why don't you lead us into the outro?
Cool.
Wait, whoa.
Oh my God, guys.
Ratings.
Are we
Ratings.
doing
That's what I'm
like,
saying.
ratings or what?
Yes, that's what I mean by the outro.
Oh.
So wait,
Right.
does the outro mean
Alright,
intro
well-
or no?
What? Adam, please lead us
All
into
right, guys.
ratings.
Take it
Okay.
away.
All right, so yeah, so I guess there's really no one to explain this to, but 1 to 10 in 0.5s. I'll go first. I'm gonna give this movie 9.5. I thought it was
Whoa.
it was really cool. It was a good movie. I don't have much more to say. I think that it's a very unique movie. And something we didn't mention was that most of it's a very loosely based on a true story of two wikis who actually got stranded at a lighthouse.
And then one murdered the other, and then he.
Yeah, but
Or no, he
so
didn't murder him. He
they
died
made
in an
most of the
accident, and
stuff.
he didn't want to make it look like he murdered him. Yeah.
Right.
This is based on that and the Greek stuff.
Yeah,
we talked
yeah.
about before.
And the Greek mythology symbolism that was really cool.
Yeah.
And I at the end I didn't really get that until the very end with the Prometheus stuff, but
Mhm.
that moment of realization, that was really cool.
Yeah.
And great job to the people who made this movie. And I liked the aspect ratio in black and white. That was a very good touch.
I'd have to. Do you want me to go next?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Personally, I'd have to say the movie was incredibly well done. My final rating for it would probably be a 9. Now, a couple things to say. They did an incredible job with the acting. Could not have picked better casting for it. The cinematography was incredible. I like the aspect ratio. They just did an overall incredible job with the storyline as well as the symbolism behind it per, A24 tradition. Yeah, I don't know. They did really good. I like the plot. There was literally no complaints about this film for me. I also love how they really did, some research on the history behind 19th century, or Lighthouse guys. And like I said earlier, Sarah Orange duet, incredible. I think helped to this film because it helped out with the dialogue, which was also an incredible portion of this film. So yeah, overall, good things to say about it. Definitely recommend watching.
All right, Nick. What did you think?
Nice. Yeah. I mean, all of you guys have said a bunch of stuff that I'd probably say again, but yeah, really, I don't see much wrong with this movie. I really enjoyed it. It's a bit, people could say it's a bit complex of a plot, but I think I like it because it leaves a lot up to interpretation, and we've had good conversations about it of which way you interpret it. And I like that about these kind of movies.
Mhm.
And I think at the end of the day, I'm gonna give this movie, same with Sai, I'm gonna give it a 9.
All right.
So
very
that
nice.
leaves us with Misha. What's your rating?
All right, so I feel like everyone's already said. I really, 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 really. I'm gonna keep saying really. This is honestly one of my most favorite films. I don't think it's better than Interstellar because I'm still very in love with that movie. But I really like the orthematic film they use. It just really brought out the characters. Very good acting. I super love period specific stuff. I love directors who research and put a lot of effort into their movies. And yeah, I'm gonna give it what Adam gave it. I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10. Really loved it. Just this is honestly one of my all-time favorite movies. It's up there. I can't really compare it to Interstellar in the sense because they're two completely different movies. So yeah. That's gonna lead us into our outro. So if you didn't catch it, we watched The Lighthouse this week, directed by Robert Eggers, starring our two people we don't even know existed, were actors for some of us. Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. They did a great job. We really enjoyed this movie. So
Bye-bye, everyone.
no, not yet. Not yet.
No,
Next.
not yet.
Let's say the intro. Or the outro.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we're supposed to do the outro? Time
No.
to go watch mermaid porn.
No. All right. So next week, hopefully, we will be bringing you an episode, a massive one. We're gonna be watching Lord of the Rings, the extended cut. Each of them are 4 hours, so that's 12 hours of talk time. No, not really, but we have 12 hours of information to process. So hopefully, we'll be bringing you a very interesting episode next time.
Very long episode.
Very long.
Yeah, massive episode.
Big, just
Yeah.
very tall, like a lighthouse. All right, guys, I'm gonna say goodnight. Adam's gonna say it next, Cy third, and Nick last. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, guys.
Adios.